What's going on? I'm the J.O.A.T and today we're getting basic. So previously I've made some polymer clay bases for some of my 3D printed minis, as you can see, in a variety of sizes and colours. However, I have got quite a few to be built, so I need something cheaper than polymer clay. And I've thought to myself, what can fill that gap in my life? Air dry clay. Air dry clay is far cheaper, especially where I live, than polymer clay. So we've got a Montmartre air hardening modelling clay, and hopefully we're going to be able to cut it up into a whole lot of bases and paint them up. So what we're going to start with some baking paper. We're going to get this old modelling clay that I have left over. It's been sitting in an airtight container for about 7 months, so it's surprisingly still usable. Yeah, if you obviously don't expose your air drying clay to air, it doesn't dry out. So we're going to cut some off. I choose a segment that's about 2 centimetres wide, and that ends up making about 13 or 14 bases. So we take our clay, we squish it up, and as you can see here, I now use a very advanced tool, just a simple metal water bottle to roll this one out. Obviously you can use a rolling pin. I just like to use this one. What I'm doing here is I'm measuring up against one of the other bases that I've previously made to see if it's the right thickness. So this one's actually not the right thickness, so a little bit more rolling, and we'll see where we're going. And this is actually the right thickness, so you can see me here now using a small cookie cutter that I actually purchased from Kmart. You can get them in these big packs, plenty of sizes. I'm using a 32mm size ring here. I've cut that one out, and as you can see, side on, it's a little bit too thick. So we're going to have to squish that one back down and roll another one. So now we're at the right thickness. You can see I'm pushing down fairly evenly and just pushing through the center to try and get them out. So obviously you don't want to play around with them too much like I am showing the camera, otherwise they can go a little wonky. Dipping your cutting tool in a little bit of water can also help it get a bit of a smoother edge on the discs, as well as helping separate it from the rest of the clay. And now just cracking full steam ahead, cutting as many as I can from the clay and working my way around. Alrighty, pack up the rest of that clay, save it for another day, and whilst you do so, make sure you knock the rest of those minis off the table. Subscribe for more. Next we're going to move along to etching onto some designs onto the clay bases. So these are for those people that are a little bit creative, don't want to have the just plain boring old bases. Here I'm using a ruler to sort of carve some tile shape in. I then also crack out the carving tools and etch just a really nice straight little line there. As you can see, they're not parallel. Wasn't really paying too much attention to it whilst I was doing it, but I can see that blaringly obviously now. What I use to texture is a little bit of alfoil. It's much easier than just squishing it with an actual rock, and you still get that nice texture. Alright, so you can either air dry those overnight, or if you're impatient like me, you can bake them in an oven, fan forced, at about 80 degrees Celsius. So obviously check that every couple of minutes until the top is hard, and then you flip and repeat until the bottom is hard. Obviously you want to have a responsible person around if you're using an oven and you don't know how to use one. Okay, so out the oven, here we go. Obviously have solidified properly. Still a little bit of flash on some of these that I probably could have cut off, but they're quite firm and hard. Not soft through the center at all, and things are looking really good for the durability of these. And just a bit of a size check, they haven't really shrunk that much, as you can see. Still fits over nice. So I've now primed these in a matte grey spray paint. Just something cheap from down at Bunnings. Didn't hit the bottom quite as hard as I probably probably could have. Yeah, but just one coat, top and bottom. Still use the baking paper, transport them. Yeah, no real deformations with the paint going on. We're going to use some Montmartre acrylic black, mix a little bit of water. This will hopefully seal in the rest of those gaps in the spray paint and give us a nice generic black base look. I've realised that I should probably cut off that flash now that I've been avoiding. Again, you can probably do that easier at the when it's still wet, the clay that is, but here I still scrape it off. I've worked out that by holding it as right on the edge, you can get most of the paint on. I then just plonk it down and just whack it around the edges there. So this is for those that are painting it with the acrylic paint. I do later on decide to opt for a black spray paint. I'll go through those later on, but these are the finished product after I've painted them all, flipping them and painting them on the back sides as well. And they've got a nice shine to them now as they're painted in the acrylic. Let's take a close look at the sculpted base. So that looks really, really detailed. If you hit that with a dry brush of grey or whatever, you know, that'll come up looking like a real nice concrete or brick or even marble tiling. So here's an example of a drop test that I accidentally did, where I had glued a miniature on and knocked it off about a 1.5 metre shelf. So you can see the miniature broke and popped off where the paint was there, but the base still intact. So yeah, just a close up there, you can see where the paint has actually ripped off, still intact on the base of the miniature. So I just simply glued it back on and Bob's your uncle, no one's the wiser. That's a little bit of blue tack from when I stuck it onto my painting tool. But yeah, the bases look and work as they should. So here's a whole lot more that I went and made up. So I tested these out with a couple of different painting mixes. So this one was a PVA and acrylic straight on with no priming. So these ones had a nice rubbery feel. However, there was it did appear that they were chipping a little bit easier. So you can see some of the paint peels off a little bit easier. These ones were the ones that I hit with just the plain flat black spray paint. I really like these ones. A little bit of flash left over because I didn't bother cutting those off, but they do the job. Alright, time for a bit of comparison. So we've got the original ones here. So remember they were just with the grey matte primer and the black acrylic. We've got the flat black spray paint, and we've got just the PVA and acrylic mix. So as you can see, there's a little bit of difference in the texture and the shine of these ones. Obviously most shiny the PVA, least shiny the matte black, flat black in the middle. I do prefer the flat black the best. As I said, the PVA peels a little bit. And here's a collection of some of those miniatures finally built after repair on the bases. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'm going to be painting these ones up in this nice fluoro neon green paint in a later video. So stick around. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed, please remember to subscribe, and you can check out my Instagram channel. Thank you.